Speaking of influence, you've called for actually the end of the Fed. Do you think that'll ever happen in your lifetime, in my lifetime?
Probably not. It would end essentially, though, if you have a runaway inflation and the dollar's destroyed. People will say, you know, how can we entrust the Federal Reserve? They're supposed to protect our dollar. And they claim that they do a pretty good job on maintaining employment and price stability. Well, they've lost 95% of the value of the dollar, and unemployment rate's 20%. So if you have runaway inflation and destroy the dollar, I think all credibility of the Fed will be gone. But in the meantime, what I plan to do, matter of fact, I have already today introduced a bill that would legalize competing currencies, legalize the Constitution, legalize gold and silver to circulate next to our paper currency and not be punished for it. Today, you're punished if you use it. You're committing a crime. You get taxed for gold and silver exchanges. So this way, it could be a gradual transition. You don't have to close the Fed down in one day. But if people get nervous, say, hey, maybe I ought to put my money in a bank that says they'll back it up by gold. So this would be an alternative to what we have.
Because of legal tender laws that force acceptance of the dollar, the Fed has absolute power over the currency. This absolute power is leading to the absolute corruption of our currency. The money supply has doubled in the last year or so, which is extremely dangerous. The banks seem to be hoarding liquidity now, but once these dollars make their way into the economy, hyperinflation and economic chaos will be a real possibility. Every time hyperinflation rips through an economy, the middle class gets completely wiped out. It is very alarming to watch the purchasing power of an entire life savings reduced to that of a few pennies. Those savings represents years of real labor, real time, effort, and sacrifice exchanged for corruptible pieces of paper that politicians and bankers can destroy at whim. Legal tender laws force the people to become subject to this risk for the benefit of the rulers. Artificial demand for currency allows the authorities to create arbitrary amounts of it to pay for wasteful projects like frivolous war and an ever-expanding public sector. This saps the private economy of jobs and purchasing power, yet the temptation proves too great for politicians time and time again. Our government is no different. Although our dollar has taken nearly a century to lose 98% of its purchasing power, the fact that we are all obliged to participate in this slow burn of the economy or on pain of imprisonment is anathema to the principles of liberty. I introduced the Free Competition in Currency Act last week to free the people from these governmental threats. H.R. 4248 would repeal legal tender laws, prohibit taxation on certain coins and bullion, and repeal certain laws related to coinage. The prospect of people turning away from the dollar toward alternate currencies should provide the incentive for the Congress to regain control of the dollar and halt its downward spiral. Restoring soundness to the dollar will remove the government's ability and incentive to inflate the currency and keep us from launching unconstitutional wars that burden our economy to excess. With a sound currency, everyone is better off, not just those who control the monetary system.